The forest didn't belong to humans after sundown. Everyone in Redwood Hollow, Oregon knew that. They'd grown up with the warnings. Don't go past Miller's Bridge after dusk, don't follow the lights in the trees, and above all, if you hear the wolves sing, don't answer. But Evelyn Pierce wasn't thinking about any of that tonight. The night had swallowed her headlights hours ago. Her old Jeep sat crooked on the edge of a muddy road, one tire flat, the engine dead. The nearest town was 12 miles behind her. Ahead lay nothing but black forest, mist curling through the trees like smoke. Rain had begun to fall, slow, deliberate drops that carried the scent of iron and pine. Evelyn's hands shook as she fumbled with her phone. No signal. The screen reflected her own pale face, streaked with fear and rain. "Okay," she whispered to herself, voice trembling. "Just breathe. Walk back to town. You'll be fine." But the word fine died in her throat when something moved between the trees. It was small at first, a rustle, a flicker of silver eyes in the dark. Then came the sound that froze her blood. Not the growl of an animal, not even the wind. It was a howl, deep, ancient, and mournful, echoing through the woods like a memory too old to die. The hair on her arms rose. "Probably a coyote," she muttered, though she didn't believe it. Coyotes didn't sound like sorrow given a voice. She grabbed her backpack, zipped her jacket, and started walking. The rain thickened. The dirt road disappeared under the fog, and the world narrowed to the circle of her flashlight. Branches snapped behind her. She stopped. Listen. Nothing. Then, closer footsteps. She spun around, light slicing through the mist. "Who's there?" No answer. Her heart pounded in her throat. She took a step back, and her foot sank into mud. The flashlight slipped from her hand and hit the ground, its beam rolling wild across the forest floor. That's when she saw him, a shape at the edge of the light. Tall, motionless, watching. His eyes caught the beam for half a second, flashing gold. Not yellow, not amber. Gold like sunlight trapped in shadow. Evelyn froze. The figure didn't move. Rain dripped from the branches above, each drop louder than her breathing. "Hello," she whispered. "Are you hurt?" Still nothing. Then, slowly, he stepped forward, and she realized he wasn't wearing a coat. His shirt was torn, his chest bare, muscles cut from shadow and light. Mud streaked his skin. His breath fogged in the cold. He looked human, but no human ever moved like that. Quiet, smooth, like gravity bent around him. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice low, rough, threaded with something feral. Evelyn's pulse kicked. "Neither should you." His head tilted slightly, eyes narrowing as if studying her scent. "You're bleeding." She glanced down. Her palm was sliced from where she'd fallen, blood mixing with rain. "It's nothing." But his gaze darkened. "It's enough." Before she could ask what that meant, another sound split the night, a chorus of howls, rising and overlapping, coming from every direction at once. Her breath hitched. "Wolves." His voice turned sharp. "Not wolves." He took a step toward her, urgency cutting through the calm. "You need to run. Now. I don't even know who you." Something moved behind her, fast. She turned, flashlight beam flashing across a pale face with black eyes, mouth stretched too wide. The thing lunged. A blur of motion slammed into it before she could scream. The man, no, the creature, had moved faster than her eyes could follow. She stumbled back as he tore through the attacker with a sound that wasn't human. When the thing hit the ground, he stood over it, chest heaving, eyes blazing gold again. His teeth, sharp, too sharp, caught the light. Evelyn stumbled, her voice shaking. "What the hell are you?" He looked at her then, truly looked, and for a heartbeat she saw the war inside him. "I'm what you just screamed for," he said softly. Then the forest erupted. Dozens of shadows rushed from the trees, shrieking, clawing through the fog. The air burned with the scent of blood and rain. He growled, a deep, guttural sound that made the earth tremble, and the wolves answered from somewhere far off, their howls rising like a storm. He turned to her. "Do you trust me? I don't even know your name." Then remember it when the night ends. Lucas Hale. Before she could speak, he grabbed her hand and pulled her against him. The air around them seemed to shatter, wind, rain, and light folding into one. She felt herself lifted, carried, her body pressed against heat and strength as he ran. No flew through the forest. Trees blurred. The rain became a silver curtain. Behind them the things screamed, but their voices faded, swallowed by distance and the echo of howls that weren't chasing. They were answering. When Lucas stopped, the world was quiet again. They stood on a ridge overlooking the valley. Below, moonlight spilled across endless trees, painting everything in white and shadow. Evelyn tore her hand from his grip. What were those things? Hunters, he said. Not human. They smelled your blood. My blood. He nodded once. The forest recognizes old bloodlines. Yours woke it. She frowned. That makes no sense. It will. He turned toward her, his expression unreadable. You shouldn't have come back to Redwood Hollow. I grew up here. I know. His voice softened, almost sorrowful. That's why the forest remembers you. Thunder rolled far away. Evelyn's mind raced. You're saying this place, these things, have something to do with me? Lucas stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. Not just you. Your family. The Pierces were guardians once, keepers of the moon's pact. You're the last. Her heart stuttered. My grandmother used to tell stories about that. She said our blood came from the night itself. He nodded. Stories always begin as truth. A gust of wind swept through the pines. Lucas lifted his head, nostrils flaring. His eyes flashed gold again. They've found us. Evelyn backed up. You said we were safe. I said we were hidden. The howls rose again, closer this time. Lucas turned to her, his voice low and fierce. Run toward the old chapel by the river. There's silver carved into its walls. It'll keep them out. Don't stop, no matter what you hear. What about you? He smiled, a wild, dangerous smile. The night listens to me. And before she could protest, he shifted. His body broke and rebuilt in a heartbeat. Bones snapping, fur bursting through skin, a growl ripping from his throat. The wolf that stood before her was massive, black as the storm, eyes burning gold. He turned his head toward her and she knew. He wanted her to go. Ran. Branches clawed her arms, mud swallowed her shoes, but she didn't stop. Behind her, the forest exploded with sound. Snarls, screams, the clash of something monstrous. Lightning split the sky, revealing glimpses of shadow and gold, fong and fire. Evelyn reached the chapel just as the storm broke open. She slammed the heavy wooden doors and fell to her knees, gasping. The air smelled of old wood and candle wax. Moonlight streamed through the cracked stained glass, painting the walls in pale blue. She pressed her forehead to the cold floor, whispering a prayer she barely remembered. Outside, the howls rose and fell. Then silence. A long moment later, the door creaked. She turned, heart hammering. Lucas stood there, human again, soaked in rain and blood. His face was half shadow, half moonlight. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. They won't touch you here, he said quietly. Evelyn swallowed hard. You saved me. He shook his head. The night saved you. I only answered. His voice trembled slightly, not with fear, but with something she didn't understand. Regret. She took a small step forward. Why me? His eyes met hers, gold fading to amber. Because the forest has chosen its queen again. The candle nearest her flickered out. The rain fell harder. And somewhere deep in the woods, the wolves began to howl, not in hunger but in reverence. The night had heard her scream, and it would never let her go. Morning never truly reached Redwood Hollow. Even at sunrise, the mist clung to the earth like a veil that refused to lift. Evelyn woke to the faint light filtering through the stained glass of the old chapel, the air thick with the scent of smoke, pine, and rain-soaked earth. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. Then she heard the steady sound of breathing nearby. Low, rhythmic, animal. She sat up fast. Lucas Hale sat against the far wall. His head bowed, eyes closed, a blanket thrown loosely around his shoulders. His skin was streaked with dried blood. The faint gleam of gold still haunted the edge of his irises even in sleep. Evelyn's throat tightened. He didn't look peaceful. Even resting, there was tension in him, like every muscle waited for war. She stood, her legs shaking, and walked toward him. "Hey!" His eyes opened instantly, catching her in that unearthly gaze. For a second, neither of them spoke. "You shouldn't move," he said. His voice was low, rough from exhaustion. "The scent of blood is still on you. If they're hunting, they'll find it." Evelyn's hand went to her cut palm. The wound from last night had sealed, but faint silver lines ran through it now, shimmering faintly in the light. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Lucas's eyes darkened. "The forest has recognized you. That doesn't answer anything." He rose slowly, the blanket falling away. His body bore new scars from the fight, healing faster than she could believe. "There's an imbalance in the hollow," he said. "The line between human and beast is thinning. The forest remembers the pact your bloodline broke." She frowned. "My bloodline? My family?" He nodded once. "Your grandmother, Elsie Pierce, she was the last keeper. She guarded the seal beneath this chapel. When she died, the seal weakened. The hollow began to wake again." Evelyn tried to laugh, but it came out brittle. "So you're telling me my grandma was some kind of magic gatekeeper?" He stepped closer, his gaze steady. "Not magic. Sacred. The seal binds the spirits that walk between this world and the next. When it breaks, the wild takes back what humans stole. And those things that attacked us. The hollow's hunters," Lucas said. "Souls without form, bound to darkness. They can smell the blood of a guardian. Then they were after me." He didn't deny it. "You carry your grandmother's mark, even if you don't see it yet." Evelyn turned away, pacing. "This is insane. I'm not special. I teach art classes to 5th graders. Pay rent late. I eat microwave dinners. There's no mark. There's no destiny." "Then explain why the forest called to you," Lucas said softly. She froze. He continued, his tone gentler now. "Why did you come back to Redwood Hollow, Evelyn? After all these years?" Her chest tightened. "My father died. The sheriff said it was a hunting accident." Lucas's expression didn't change, but the air around him did. He went still, utterly still. "Your father's death wasn't an accident." Her pulse quickened. "What are you talking about?" He hesitated, then said quietly. "He tried to restore the seal. The hollow killed him before he could finish." The world tilted. Evelyn staggered back, her breath sharp. "You're lying." "I wish I were." The rain outside thickened, pattering against the chapel roof. Lucas stepped closer, his voice lowering. He wasn't alone that night. He wasn't supposed to be. There was another guardian meant to help him. She never came. Evelyn's voice broke. "Who?" Lucas's gaze flicked away. "Alana Pierce. Your mother." The silence that followed was heavy and hollow. Evelyn's knees gave out, and she sank onto the pew. "My mother died in childbirth." Lucas shook his head. "That's what you were told." She disappeared into the hollow. Her body was never found. "We searched for weeks." Her stomach turned cold. "You knew her." His voice softened. "Everyone in the old clans knew the Pierces. But I." He stopped himself. "But you what?" she demanded. Lucas looked away. "It doesn't matter." "The hell it doesn't." His jaw tightened. For the first time since she'd met him, she saw a flicker of something vulnerable beneath all that control. "She saved my life once. During a hunt. I owed her everything. When she vanished, I swore I'd protect the next of her line." Evelyn swallowed hard. "So that's why you helped me. Not because I screamed, but because I'm her daughter." Lucas met her gaze, pain shadowing his eyes. At first, he didn't answer. The air between them thickened, electric and fragile. Outside, a single howl cut through the mist, long, distant and lonely. Lucas's head snapped toward the door, instincts igniting. "They're moving closer," he said. "The forest's balance is breaking faster than I thought." Evelyn rose shakily. "What do? We find the seal before the next full moon. If the hollow consumes it, nothing will stop the wild from swallowing the valley." "And where is it?" He hesitated. "Your grandmother hid it beneath the oldest tree in the forest, the heartwood. But it's buried deep in the forbidden zone." "Forbidden?" "It's where the wild first touched this world. Even I don't go there without the moon's blessing." She laughed once, breathless. "You make it sound like the forest is alive." He looked at her, eyes steady. "It is." They left the chapel before dusk. The mist had thickened into fog, the world hushed and waiting. Lucas moved through the trees with impossible grace, his bare feet silent on the damp earth. Evelyn followed close behind, her heart a steady drumbeat of fear and wonder. Every step deeper into the forest felt like walking into another century. The air grew colder, the light stranger. Silver motes floated between the branches, tiny sparks that pulsed like fireflies. Lucas paused suddenly, his hand raised. "Stay quiet." "What is it?" He pointed ahead. Through the fog, shapes moved, pale figures with hollow eyes, gliding across the forest floor without sound. Hunters. They crouched behind a fallen log. Evelyn's breath caught. "How many?" "Too many." "Then we go back." "No," his voice was calm, unyielding. "We wait." The hunters passed within yards of them, whispering in a language that felt like wind over bones. Evelyn's pulse hammered in her ears. Then one stopped, turned its head. Sniff. Lucas tensed. Evelyn felt something stir inside her, the same heat that had flared when he'd touched her hand the night before. The air shimmered faintly. The hunter froze, then turned away, as if blinded. When the last shadow disappeared, Lucas looked at her in disbelief. "What did you do?" I don't know." He stepped closer, voice soft. "The forest answered you. It's already claiming you." Evelyn shook her head, backing away. "No. I don't want any of this." Lucas reached out, catching her wrist. His touch was warm, grounding. "You don't get to choose the blood you carry, Evelyn. But you can choose what to do with it." Her eyes met his. "And what did you choose?" His jaw tightened. "To serve the moon. To guard what I can never have." "What's that?" He hesitated. "Peace." The silence between them deepened, threaded with something unspoken, something that made her chest ache. Thunder rolled again, far off but closer than before. Lucas turned toward the sound, his expression grim. "They're coming faster now. The hollow knows we're near the heartwood." Evelyn took a breath, her fear hardening into resolve. "Then we don't stop." He looked at her, really looked, and for a moment the wildness in his eyes softened. "You sound like her. Like my mother." He nodded. "And that scares me more than you know." They moved on together, deeper into the forest's heart, the fog closing behind them like a door. The night waited, listening. And somewhere far ahead, something ancient stirred, awake and hungry. By the third night, the forest no longer felt like a place outside the world. Felt like the world itself, alive, aware, watching them. Every breath Evelyn took came heavy with scent, damp soil, cedar, something faintly metallic beneath the air. Lucas led the way through the fog, his movements quiet and precise, every sense alert. Evelyn followed close behind, her flashlight long since dead, her faith held together by his shadow. The trees grew stranger the deeper they went, roots twisting like skeletal fingers, bark covered in symbols that pulsed faintly under the moonlight. It wasn't graffiti. It was language. The forest. Evelyn felt it inside her, a thrum in her chest that pulsed in time with the earth's heartbeat. She stopped once, Her hand pressed to a tree trunk that seemed to breathe. "Don't linger," Lucas warned softly. "It'll remember you." She pulled away, but the bark where she touched it glowed faintly, silver bleeding through her skin. Evelyn stared at her palm. "It feels alive." "It is. The hollow is made of memory. It doesn't forget bloodlines." His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed something else, worry. They reached a ravine where the fog thinned into ribbons, revealing a clearing bathed in moonlight. At its center stood a tree unlike any other. The heartwood. Its trunk was vast, gnarled and pale, its roots splitting the earth open in great coiling veins. The air around it shimmered, the light bending as though time itself slowed near its bark. Evelyn felt her breath catch. "It's beautiful." Lucas's voice dropped low. "And dangerous." He approached slowly, his steps measured. "This is where the seal lies. Your grandmother bound it beneath the roots with her own life's blood." Evelyn frowned. "Then how do we?" Before she could finish, the ground trembled. Lucas tensed. "We're not alone." From the shadows beneath the roots, something began to rise. Tall, cloaked, its face lost in darkness. The air grew colder, the mist curling toward it like it was being inhaled. A voice rolled out, deep and old as the mountain. "Pierce blood returns to the heartwood. The pact is broken." Lucas shifted, body ready to fight, his voice sharp. "The pact was betrayed by your master, not by her." The figure turned its head toward Evelyn. "She carries the same mark as her mother." Evelyn's pulse raced. "You knew her." A sound like laughter rippled through the clearing. "Your mother served the forest, until she forgot her place." "What does that mean?" "She chose love over duty. The moon demanded sacrifice. She refused. And so the hollow claimed her." Evelyn looked at Lucas, horror dawning in her eyes. "Is that true?" His jaw tightened. "Parts of it." She stepped back. "You said she disappeared, you didn't tell me why." "There was no time. You lied to me." He took a step toward her, eyes pleading. "If you'd known the truth, you wouldn't have come. And the hollow would have won." "Won what?" "Your blood." The figure beneath the tree moved closer, its cloak parting slightly to reveal a body made of smoke and ash, veins glowing faintly red. "The forest remembers every broken vow," it said. "Every lover who turned from the moon's command." The wind rose, carrying whispers in a language Evelyn couldn't understand, but she felt the words in her bones. The power in them. Then she saw it, images flashing behind her eyes like lightning. Her mother standing in the same clearing, the heartwood burning from within. Lucas, younger, holding her, blood running down his arm. And a child, a baby, swaddled in light. Her voice broke. "You were there." Lucas closed his eyes. "Yes. You were there when she died." His silence was the only confirmation she needed. Evelyn's breath came fast, the air trembling around her. "What did you do to her?" Lucas stepped forward, his voice rough. "I tried to save her. She was supposed to seal the hollow forever. But she couldn't do it, she wouldn't sacrifice the child." "You." The words hit like a blow. "Me. You were the price," he said softly. "Your mother chose your life over the world's balance." The seal was left weak, and the hollow began to grow again. "That's why you're here now. The moon has called you to finish what she couldn't." Evelyn stumbled back, shaking her head. "No. No, this isn't real." The figure laughed again, the sound shaking the air. "The same blood, the same choice. Will you doom the world again for love?" Lucas snarled. "Enough." He stepped between her and the creature, his voice a growl. "She's not her mother." But Evelyn's voice rose, fierce and trembling. "What if I am?" The creature tilted its head. "Then the hollow will welcome you home." And before Lucas could stop her, Evelyn stepped forward, her hand glowing faintly. She touched the heartwood's bark. The world cracked open. Light surged from the roots, the air alive with power. The creature screamed, its cloak ripping apart into smoke and embers. Evelyn's body shook, her eyes burning with light. Lucas grabbed her shoulders. Evelyn, stop. You're not ready. I have to see it, she gasped. I have to know. The light flooded her vision, and suddenly she wasn't in the clearing anymore. She stood in a memory. The sky above was red with fire. The heartwood was burning. Her mother stood before it, clutching a newborn wrapped in white cloth. Lucas stood beside her, half-shifted, blood on his hands. Alana's voice echoed through the flames. If the moon demands her life, it will have to go through me. Lucas's voice broke. You don't understand, if you don't finish the seal, everything dies. She smiled sadly. Then let it. And then darkness. The forest swallowed her. Evelyn gasped as the vision shattered. She fell to her knees in the clearing, shaking, the glow fading from her hands. Lucas knelt beside her, gripping her arms. You saw it, didn't you? Tears blurred her vision. She gave everything for me. And you let her. His voice broke. She didn't let me choose. Evelyn shoved him away. Don't touch me. He flinched, the rejection cutting deeper than her words. The wind shifted, carrying a low, distant howl. Lucas looked toward the sound, his expression grim. The hollow knows you've awakened the seal. The hunters will come again. Evelyn rose, her hands still trembling with faint light. Let them. He frowned. Evelyn. I'm done running, she said, her voice hard. My mother died protecting this forest, and I'm not going to let her sacrifice mean nothing. Lucas stared at her, torn between pride and dread. If you do this, you'll have to finish the seal yourself. You'll have to bind it, with your life. She met his gaze, eyes bright with tears and fire. Maybe that's the only way to end it. For a long moment he said nothing. Then softly, you sound just like her. Evelyn turned toward the heartwood, her hand brushing the ancient bark. Then maybe that's not such a bad thing. But as the wind rose again, carrying the low call of the hollow's wolves, Lucas knew what the forest hadn't told her, what her mother had died keeping secret. The seal didn't require blood. It required a bond. And the only bond strong enough to restore it was love freely given and willingly broken. The next day never came. The forest stayed locked in twilight, the light dim and strange, as though the sun had given up trying to reach the ground. The air carried electricity, anticipation before a storm, and every branch seemed to bend toward Evelyn as she walked. Lucas followed in silence, his presence a steady gravity behind her. She could feel his eyes on her, could almost hear his thoughts pressing against the air between them. They had left the heartwood behind, but its power still pulsed through her veins. Her fingertips shimmered faintly whenever she touched the earth. It frightened her, and yet, the forest no longer felt hostile. It felt alive, and it was watching. You haven't said anything since last night, she said finally, not looking back. There's nothing left to say, he answered quietly. Evelyn turned, angry tears threatening. You lied to me, Lucas. You kept everything secret, my mother, the seal, what this place really is. And now you want me to trust you. He stopped walking, the tension between them sharp as a blade. I wanted to protect you. From what? From your fate. She laughed bitterly. Seems like that worked out great. Lucas's golden eyes caught the dim light. You don't understand what the forest asks for, Evelyn. The moon's power is not mercy, it's hunger. It takes what it's owed. Then let it take me. He stepped closer, his voice rough. You think your mother said the same thing? She thought her sacrifice would be enough. But the hollow doesn't want death. It wants balance. It wanted love broken in blood. And she gave it to me. Evelyn froze. What? Lucas's voice dropped, quiet and raw. Your mother was my mate. The air went silent. Even the wind seemed to stop moving. Evelyn stared at him, the words carving straight through her. That's not possible. You said she. I said she saved me, he cut in. She did. We were bound under the moon long before you were born. When she chose the child over the seal, I begged the forest to spare her. Didn't. It tore her from this world and bound me to guard what remained. You loved her, Evelyn whispered. His gaze broke away. I still do. The words hit harder than any truth she'd faced. She looked away quickly, blinking against the sting of tears. And now you're helping me because you see her in me. That's it, isn't it? Lucas's jaw clenched. You're not her. But you wish I were. He flinched as if struck. Evelyn turned and kept walking, her steps quick and uneven. The forest seemed to darken with every word they didn't say. By dusk, they reached the edge of the old hollow bridge, where the mist pooled thick and low over the river. The ruins of a forgotten town slept beyond it, stone walls covered in moss, the bones of what once was the first settlement. The seal's energy runs under the water, Lucas said. Your grandmother's magic tied it to the current. If it breaks completely, the hollow will cross the veil here first. So this is where it ends, Evelyn murmured. He nodded. One way or another. She stepped to the middle of the bridge, leaning over the side. The reflection staring back from the black water wasn't entirely hers anymore. The silver glow in her eyes looked almost like moonlight bleeding through glass. The air shifted. The wind dropped. Lucas's head snapped up. They're here. Figures emerged from the mist. Dozens of them. The hollow's hunters, faces pale and eyes empty, their bodies moving like smoke. The one leading them was taller, its cloak of shadows solidifying into something almost human. The Hollow King. Evelyn recognized him instantly from the visions. The same mask of bone and shadow, the same void where eyes should be. He spoke, voice echoing across the bridge. The forest called you home, child of the broken line. Evelyn straightened. You destroyed my mother. The Hollow King tilted his head. She destroyed herself. You will too. She was stronger than you'll ever be. His laughter was soft and cold. And yet she died screaming. Lucas growled, the sound low and dangerous. You'll regret that. He shifted mid-step, his body exploding into motion, bones cracking, for blooming eyes turning molten gold. The Lycan king rose in full power, the bridge trembling under his weight. The hunters lunged. Chaos followed, claws, teeth, shadows, light. Lucas tore through them like a storm, his roar echoing through the valley. Evelyn stood frozen at first, then the power inside her flared, silver veins glowing, the wind bending to her pulse. She raised her hands, and light answered. Every creature that touched her burst into ash. The Hollow King laughed through the noise. So much fire, just like her. He raised a hand, and shadows coiled around Lucas, binding his limbs. The wolf roared, thrashing, but the darkness held. Let him go, Evelyn cried. The Hollow King's voice deepened. Give me the seal. Give me your blood, and I'll let him live. Evelyn's heart pounded. You want balance. You'll have it. Before Lucas could stop her, she stepped forward and pressed her glowing hand to her chest. The light burst outward. Lucas's cry cut through the night as the silver fire spread from her body into the air, into the water, into the very bones of the forest. The seal answered her call, pulsing with her heartbeat. But the Hollow King only smiled. You still don't understand, child. The seal feeds on loss. On love that can't survive. Evelyn stumbled, the energy in her veins burning hotter, wilder. Lucas broke free from the shadows and caught her before she fell. Evelyn, stop. It's killing you. She looked up at him, eyes glowing bright enough to hurt. It needs a bond, Lucas. It needs a heart to break. He shook his head, fear cutting through his anger. Don't you dare. She smiled, tears spilling down her cheeks. Tell me you don't love me. His breath caught. Don't do this. Say it. He couldn't. Her voice trembled. Then that's enough. She pulled away from him and faced the Hollow King. The forest asked for love freely given, willingly broken. I give it. The light exploded from her like a scream. Lucas fell to his knees, blinded, as the world split open, wind, fire, shadow and moonlight colliding. The Hollow King's laughter turned to a howl of agony as his form unraveled into mist. The bridge cracked. The river below roared. Lucas crawled toward her through the chaos, shouting her name. Evelyn! She looked back one last time, her hair glowing silver, her eyes soft and sad. Tell her, she whispered. Tell who? The moon. Her voice was fading. I finally understood. Then she stepped off the bridge. The light swallowed her, and the Hollow King's scream vanished into silence. When the mist cleared, the forest was still. The hunters were gone. The air smelled like rain and iron and endings. Lucas stood on the ruined bridge, staring into the black water below. The moon hung above, pale and silent, watching. He fell to his knees, head bowed, blood and tears mixing in the dirt. The world was safe again, but she was gone. And he, eternal, cursed, unchanging, was left to live with what she'd given. Love freely given, willingly broken. The forest exhaled, and the night fell quiet once more. Spring crept back to Redwood Hollow like a wounded animal, slow, cautious, uncertain that it was still welcome. The snow melted from the ridges first, then from the riverbanks, revealing the scars where the bridge had collapsed into the rushing water below. No one in town spoke of the storm that had shaken the mountains that night. They said it was lightning, freak weather, nothing more. But those who lived closest to the forest swore they could still hear whispers on the wind when the moon rose full, soft, feminine, sorrowful. Lucas Hale never returned to the world of men. He had buried what was left of his heart with Evelyn's memory, beneath the roots of the heartwood, where her light had burned brightest. There, the forest had begun to heal. The mist no longer crawled with malice, and the air smelled of pine and rain again instead of blood and iron. But Lucas didn't heal. He walked the forest as both man and beast, guarding what she had restored. His nights were endless, his grief an old companion. The Lycan king had won, and lost everything that mattered. Months passed. Then one rain-swept night the wind shifted. Lucas felt it before he saw it, the pull of something familiar and impossible. He turned toward the heartwood, every instinct waking. The clearing glowed faintly, silver ripples threading through the roots like veins of light. The tree was whispering again. He stepped closer, his breath misting in the cold air. Evelyn! At first there was nothing, just wind in the leaves. Then a voice, soft as breath, answered. You kept your promise. Lucas froze. The voice was everywhere, around him, within him. He closed his eyes, trembling. I failed you. No, you freed me. He fell to his knees, hands pressed to the damp earth. I can't see you. You were never meant to. I belong to the light now. The glow beneath the tree brightened, and for a moment he could almost see her. Silver hair, eyes like rain on glass, a ghost made of moonlight. Lucas reached out a hand, but she shook her head gently. You can't touch what's already gone. His chest ached. Then why call to me? Because the forest isn't finished. It chose another. He looked up sharply. Another what? But the light had already begun to fade. Follow the river, she whispered. And when you find her, tell her who she is. Then the clearing fell silent once more. He found her 3 nights later, on the edge of the river where the bridge had once stood. A young woman, soaked from the rain, clutching a backpack to her chest. Her dark hair clung to her face, her breath sharp with fear. Stay back, she shouted, swinging a flashlight toward him. Lucas stopped a few feet away, the beam cutting across his bare chest, the rain sliding down scars that looked too old for his face. I'm not here to hurt you, he said quietly. Then why are you following me? He looked at her closely. She couldn't have been older than 20, but something about her felt ancient. The scent that clung to her, wildflowers and rain and faint silver, made his blood stir. Your name, he said slowly. What is it? She hesitated. Nora Pierce. The world tilted. Pierce, he repeated, barely above a whisper. My mom used to talk about this place, she said. Said it was dangerous, that our family used to protect something here. I didn't believe her until last week when I started. She stopped, biting her lip. When you started what? Nora's flashlight flickered. Dreaming about a woman standing in a forest made of light. She called me by name. Told me to come here. Lucas's heart stopped. What did she look like? Silver hair, Nora said softly. Eyes like the moon. She said she was waiting for me to finish what she started. Lucas closed his eyes, rain dripping from his lashes. Evelyn. Nora frowned. You knew her. He nodded, struggling for words. She saved this world. And if she sent you here, it's because something's waking again. Nora stepped closer, curiosity overcoming fear. You talk like she was real. She was, he said. She is. The forest carries her still. The air around them thickened. Lightning flashed across the valley, illuminating the ruins of the bridge. Beneath the surface of the river, faint silver light pulsed. The seal, Lucas murmured. Nora turned. What's happening? The balance is shifting again, he said. Your blood has reawakened it. The forest is calling for a guardian. Nora's pulse raced. Why me? Because you're her blood, he said, stepping closer. And because you carry the light she left behind. She shook her head. I don't understand. You will. Lucas reached out, hesitated, then gently took her hand. The moment their skin touched, a spark flared between them, silver and gold. The air around them shivered, the wind rising. The forest knew her. Nora gasped as visions flooded her mind. Evelyn standing in the moonlight, arms open, smiling. Her voice whispered inside her. You are my echo, my redemption. Nora's breath trembled. She said my name. Lucas looked at her, eyes glowing faintly. She's still guiding the hollow. And you? Nora asked. What are you? He smiled, sad and quiet. A shadow that serves the light she left behind. The storm calmed suddenly. The air grew still. Nora stepped forward, her voice uncertain but strong. If the forest wants a guardian, then it has one. Lucas studied her face. The determination, the fire, the same defiant courage that had lived in Evelyn's eyes. The same courage that had broken his heart. He nodded slowly. Then I'll stand beside you. Why? She asked. Because this time, he said, I won't fail the one the forest chooses. The moon rose over the valley then, pale and perfect. Its light washed over the trees, the river, and the two figures standing on its edge. One mortal, one monster, both bound by a love that refused to die. The hollow was quiet, balanced, touching. But somewhere deep beneath the earth, the faintest whisper stirred. Neither dark nor light, but something in between. Heartbeat. The forest would never sleep again. And as the night wind carried Evelyn's voice through the pines, soft, eternal, full of peace, Lucas lifted his head to the sky, gold eyes reflecting silver light, and whispered the words she had once said to him beneath the broken moon. The night listens. And love always answers.